Today, we're diving into the 20 common English expressions and transforming them into authentic Mandarin. It's time to stop sounding like a walking Google Translate and start speaking like a native. The first one is, what's up? Translating what's up can vary based on the context. When it's used as a friendly greeting to ask someone how they're doing, we typically say, 你最近还好吗？你最近还好吗？你最近怎么样？你最近怎么样？你怎么样？你怎么样？ A more casual alternative to 怎么样 is 咋样, so we can also say 你最近咋样 or 你咋样. The word 你 can often be omitted from all these expressions. 好久不见，你怎么样啊？还行吧，你呢？最近还好吗？挺好挺好，改天出来聚聚啊。行啊。好久不见，你怎么样啊？好久不见，你怎么样啊？还行吧，你呢？最近还好吗？还行吧，你呢？最近还好吗？挺好，挺好，改天出来聚聚啊。挺好，挺好，改天出来聚聚啊。行啊，行啊。When it's used to ask someone what is happening in their life or what they're doing now, here are my 3 go-to verbs. 忙、做、干. So we can say, 你最近忙什么呢？你最近忙什么呢？你最近做什么呢？你最近做什么呢？你最近干什么呢？你最近干什么呢？A more casual alternative to 什么 is 啥, so we can also say 你最近忙啥呢？你最近做啥呢？你最近干啥呢？ If you want to ask what they're doing right at this moment, simply drop the word 最近 and say 忙什么呢？忙啥呢？做什么呢？做啥呢？干什么呢？干啥呢？好久不见，最近忙什么呢？都见不到你。最近去旅游了，刚回来。你呢？在这干什么呢？我就买杯咖啡。好久不见，最近忙什么呢？都见不到你。好久不见，最近忙什么呢？都见不到你。最近去旅游了，刚回来。你呢？在这儿干什么呢？最近去旅游了，刚回来。你呢？在这干什么呢？我就买杯咖啡。我就买杯咖啡。When it's used to ask what's wrong or to express concern, like in you seem sad, what's up? In this case, we say 你怎么了？你怎么了？你还好吗？你还好吗？发生什么了？发生什么了？你没事吧？你没事吧？诶，你怎么了？哭什么？没事吧？没事没事，银行卡丢了。那你先别哭了，快给银行打电话把卡锁了吧。你说的对。诶，你怎么了？哭什么？没事吧？诶，你怎么了？哭什么？没事吧？没事没事，银行卡丢了。没事没事，银行卡丢了。那你先别哭了，快给银行打电话把卡锁了吧。那你先别哭了，快给银行打电话把卡锁了吧。你说的对。你说的对。Alright, let's move on to our next useful phrase. I'll be right back. In most situations, you can say, 我马上就回来。我马上就回来。我很快就回来。我很快就回来。我一会儿就回来。我一会儿就回来。Now, here's the most informal and casual way to say it. 我去去就回。我去去就回。这么早就走啊？我还不走呢，去下便利店，马上就回来。这么早就走啊？这么早就走啊？我还不走呢， 去下便利店，马上就回来。我还不走呢，去下便利店，马上就回来。你去哪儿？我去超市，很快的，去就回。你去哪儿？你去哪儿？我去超市，很快的，去就回。我去超市，很快的，去就回。The third phrase we'll look at is a common request. Could you pass me something? For example, the sock. In Chinese, there are several ways to say this, ranging from polite to casual. Let's go through them. The first two are slightly formal and polite, can be used with people you don't know well. 能把盐递给我吗？能把盐递给我吗？可以把盐递给我吗？可以把盐递给我吗？ And here are two casual ways. 帮我拿一下盐呗。帮我拿一下盐呗。把盐递给我呗。把盐递给我呗。And this one is the most informal way, best used with close friends or family. 你干什么呢？很明显我在做饭啊。哦，对哦，正好你来了，帮我拿下盐呗，在那边。你干什么呢？你干什么呢？很明显我在做饭啊。很明显我在做饭啊。哦，对哦。哦，对哦。正好你来了，帮我拿下盐呗，在那边。正好你来了，帮我拿下盐呗，在那边。The next one is no worries, it's all good. People say it in various situations to reassure someone that there's no problem or issue. In Mandarin, we have many alternatives. 别担心，别担心，不用担心，不用担心，没关系，没关系，没事，没事 or 没事儿，没事儿，没事的，没事的，放心吧，放心吧，没问题，没问题，没什么的，没什么的。We can use them interchangeably in various situations. For example, when someone makes a small mistake, like stepping on your foot or being late, and they apologize, you can respond with 没事没事，别担心，没关系，没问题 to show you're not upset. 不好意思，我来晚了。没事没事，5分钟而已，没关系。不好意思，我来晚了。不好意思，我来晚了。没事没事，5分钟而已，没关系。没事没事，5分钟而已，没关系。If you ask someone for help or a favor, but they can't do it, to show you understand and not bothered by it, you can say, 这样啊，没事。这样啊，没事。这样啊，没关系，可以理解。这样啊，没关系，可以理解。没问题的，我理解。没问题的，我理解。好吧，没事儿，别担心。好吧，没事儿，别担心。不好意思，这个忙我真帮不了。这样啊，没关系，可以理解。不好意思，这个忙我真帮不了。不好意思，这个忙我真帮不了。这样啊，没关系，可以理解。这样啊，没关系，可以理解。If a person is stressed or worried about something minor, and you want to reassure them that everything is fine, you can say, 不用担心，没什么事。不用担心，没什么事。放心吧，没什么大不了的。放心吧，没什么大不了的。别担心了，没问题的。别担心了，没问题的。哎呀，我忘记和他说生日快乐了，怎么办？ 放心吧，你现在说也来得及，没什么大不了的。哎呀，我忘记和他说生日快乐了，怎么办？哎呀，我忘记和他说生日快乐了，怎么办？放心吧，你现在说也来得及，没什么大不了的。放心吧，你现在说也来得及，没什么大不了的。Let's move on to the next one. It's up to you. It means that the decision or choice is yours to make. It can be said in both friendly and cold manner depending on the tone, context, and even your facial and body expressions. 听你的，听你的，你决定吧，你决定吧 or just say 你定吧，看你吧，看你吧，你说了算，你说了算。我们去哪儿吃饭？我都行，你说了算。我们去哪儿吃饭？我们去哪儿吃饭？我都行，你说了算。我都行，你说了算。你决定吧，你决定吧 or just say 你定吧，看你，看你，随便你，随便你。我们去哪儿吃饭？这种小事不要问我，你定吧。你吃错药了，态度怎么这么差？我们去哪儿吃饭？我们去哪儿吃饭？这种小事不要问我，你定吧。这种小事不要问我，你定吧。你吃错药了，态度怎么这么差？你吃错药了，态度怎么这么差？ The next one is I can't believe I forgot that. Well, we could directly translate this as 我真不敢相信我忘了. It sounds too stiff, like something Google Translate would say. In real-life Chinese, we'd say it differently. In casual situations, we often start with an exclamation to express I can't believe something. For example, 天哪,天哪, which is basically the Chinese equivalent of oh my god. We can also use 哎呀, which is more like oh no or oops. Then we have a few ways to express the act of forgetting. 居然忘了,居然忘了 or 竟然忘了,竟然忘了 And here is another one. 不记得了,不记得了 We can mix and match these to create several natural sounding expressions. For example, 天哪,我居然忘了。天哪,我居然忘了。哎呀，我竟然给忘了。哎呀，我竟然给忘了。天哪，我居然不记得了。天哪，我居然不记得了。哎呀，我竟然不记得了。哎呀，我竟然不记得了。你带身份证了吗？身份证？天哪，我居然给忘了。你带身份证了吗？你带身份证了吗？身份证，天哪，我居然给忘了。身份证，天哪，我居然给忘了。你记得今天是什么日子吗？什么日子？是我们的纪念日啊，笨蛋。哎呀，我居然不记得了。你记得今天是什么日子吗？你记得今天是什么日子吗？什么日子？什么日子？是我们的纪念日啊，笨蛋。是我们的纪念日啊，笨蛋。哎呀，我居然不记得了。哎呀，我居然不记得了。The next expression is, that sounds like a plan. It's used to show agreement with a suggestion or proposal. First, let's see what Google Translate says. 这听起来是个不错的计划。这听起来像是一个计划。这听上去像是一个计划。None of these sound natural. That's because Chinese has its own unique way of expressing this idea. In Chinese, we often use phrases that are more like saying good idea in English. For example, 好主意，好主意，这个主意不错，这个主意不错。And here is another thing. Technically, we pronounce 主意 as a third tone, 主意. But in real life, especially in the northern part of China, you will hear 主意 more often with the second tone, 主意, which means when you're taking an exam, always pick the one with the third tone, 主意. But don't be surprised when you hear native speakers say 主意 all the time. 主意，好主意，这个主意不错。And there are also other ways to show agreement that might be closer to that sounds like a plan. 听起来不错，听起来不错，挺靠谱的，挺靠谱的。就这么办吧，就这么办吧。我觉得可以，我觉得可以。Another one, 可以可以，可以可以。Repeating 可以 is a common way to express enthusiastic agreement. 明天晚上去海边看日落吧。可以可以，听起来不错。明天晚上去海边看日落吧。明天晚上去海边看日落吧。可以可以，听起来不错。可以可以，听起来不错。今天你做晚饭，我准备甜点。行，这主意不错。今天你做晚饭，我准备甜点。今天你做晚饭，我准备甜点。行，这主意不错。行，这主意不错。这个项目我负责研究数据，你负责用户访谈，怎么样？挺靠谱的，就这么办吧。这个项目我负责研究数据，你负责用户访谈，怎么样？这个项目我负责研究数据，你负责用户访谈，怎么样？挺靠谱的，就这么办吧。挺靠谱的，就这么办吧。Alright, let's move on to a phrase you might find yourself using more often than you'd like. I'm running late. It typically means you're behind schedule and won't arrive on time. In Chinese, we have a few ways to express it, and they're all pretty straightforward. 我要迟了，我要迟了，我要晚了，我要晚了，我会迟一点，我会迟一点 or 我会迟一些，我会迟一些，我会晚一点，我会晚一点 or 我会晚一些，我会晚一些。The 一点 or 一些 soften the message a bit, implying you won't be too late. The choice between 迟 and 晚 is mostly a matter of personal preference. They're pretty interchangeable in this context. 你已经到了吗？还没，我会晚一些，再等我10分钟哦。好吧，你已经到了吗？你已经到了吗？还没，我会晚一些，再等我10分钟哦。还没，我会晚一些，再等我10分钟哦。好吧，好吧。The next one is, do you want to grab a coffee? In Mandarin, we have a few ways to say this. 你想一起喝杯咖啡吗？你想一起喝杯咖啡吗？ Or 你想一起去喝杯咖啡吗？你想一起去喝杯咖啡吗？ This is very similar but includes the words 去 meaning go. So it's like saying, do you want to go drink a cup of coffee together? If you want to be more concise or casual, you could also say, 去喝杯咖啡呀，去喝杯咖啡呀。This is more like saying grab a coffee. It's shorter and informal. And another one, 走，去喝杯咖啡吧。走，去喝杯咖啡吧。This is even more casual, like saying, come on, let's go grab a coffee. 午休的时候，咱们去喝杯咖啡呀。走，现在就去吧。午休的时候， 咱们去喝杯咖啡呀。午休的时候，咱们去喝杯咖啡呀。走，现在就去吧。走，现在就去吧。Now let's look at a useful phrase for making plans. Let me know when you're free. In Mandarin, we have several ways to say this. 你有空的时候告诉我。你有空的时候告诉我。你有空的时候跟我说一声。你有空的时候跟我说一声。We can also use 方便 instead of 有空, so we can say 你方便的时候告诉我。你方便的时候告诉我。你方便的时候跟我说一声。你方便的时候跟我说一声。This basically means the same thing, just using when it's convenient for you instead of when you're free. Here's a bonus phrase if you want to sound cute and friendly. 等你有空了就告诉我哦。等你有空了就告诉我哦。This is like saying, just let me know when you're free, okay? 明天早上一起去冲浪吗？明天不行，早上有个会。那等你有空的时候跟我说一声。好，明天下午再联系。明天早上一起去冲浪吗？明天早上一起去冲浪吗？明天不行，早上有个会。明天不行，早上有个会。那等你有空的时候跟我说一声。那等你有空的时候跟我说一声。好，明天下午再联系。好，明天下午再联系。We're happy there, yay! Let's move on to the next one. I'm just chilling today. This is a relaxed way of saying you're not doing anything special or perhaps doing nothing at all. In Mandarin, we can say, 我今天没什么特别的安排。我今天没什么特别的安排。我今天没什么事做。我今天没什么事做。我今天什么都不干。我今天什么都不干。我今天很悠闲。我今天很悠闲。This one uses 悠闲, which means leisurely or relaxed. So it's like saying, I'm very relaxed today. 你今天干什么？我今天什么都不干，在家休息。你今天干什么？你今天干什么？我今天什么都不干，在家休息。我今天什么都不干，在家休息。The next one is, can you help me with this? In Chinese, instead of specifying help me with this, we often say help me for a bit, which is 帮我一下，帮我一下。And here are some ways to use this. 你能帮我一下吗？你能帮我一下吗？你可以帮我一下吗？你可以帮我一下吗？ If you want to be more polite, you can use the following alternatives. 麻烦你帮我一下好吗？麻烦你帮我一下好吗？能请你帮我一下吗？能请你帮我一下吗？拜托你帮我一下。拜托你帮我一下。If you want to be more concise, you can simply say, 帮我一下好吗？帮我一下好吗？ This is a short and sweet way of saying, help me out, okay? 你怎么了？我不会用这个软件，你能帮我一下吗？好啊。你怎么了？你怎么了？我不会用这个软件，你能帮我一下吗？我不会用这个软件，你能帮我一下吗？好啊。好啊。The next one is, I could really use a nap right now. So you might know how to say to sleep in Chinese, right? It's 睡 or 睡觉. Pretty simple stuff. But what about when you just want to take a nap? Let me share two phrases with you. First up, we have 小睡. 小睡, which literally means small sleep. So you can say 小睡一下 or 小睡一会儿，小睡一下，小睡一会儿。But there's another word that's super colloquial and kind of fun to use. It's me. It's like saying you're gonna shut your eyes for a moment. You can use it like 小睡，小睡一下，小睡一会儿，眯一下，眯一会儿，眯一下，眯一会儿。So the complete sentence goes, 我现在真的很想小睡一下 or 小睡一会儿。我现在真的很想小睡一下 or 一会儿。我现在真的需要小睡一下 or 小睡一会儿。我现在真的需要小睡一下一会儿。我需要小睡一下 or 小睡一会儿。我需要小睡一下，我需要小睡一会儿。It's the same for me. 我现在真的很想眯一下，我现在真的很想眯一会儿。我现在真的需要眯一下，我现在真的需要眯一会儿。Or 我需要眯一下，我需要眯一会儿。我们现在要去唱歌，一起啊！不了不了，我现在真的很想眯一会儿。我们现在要去唱歌，一起啊！我们现在要去唱歌，一起啊！不了不了，我现在真的很想眯一会儿。不了不了，我现在真的很想眯一会儿。Move on to the next one. You know those moments when someone says something so unbelievable that you just have to ask, are you kidding me? Let me show you how to say it in Chinese. First up, we've got the classic. 你在开玩笑吧？你在开玩笑吧？你在开玩笑吗？你在开玩笑吗？ This literally means, are you joking? And they're pretty versatile. You can use them in most situations. If you want to sound a bit more colloquial, try these ones. 你逗我呢？你逗我呢？你在逗我吧？你在逗我吧？你在逗我吗？你在逗我吗？ This all means something like, are you teasing me or are you pulling my leg? If you really need to know if someone's being serious, you can go with, 你是认真的吗？你是认真的吗？这个月我吃了20天披萨。你在开玩笑吧？对啊，我是在开玩笑。其实我吃了25天。这个月我吃了20天披萨。这个月我吃了20天披萨。你在开玩笑吧？你在开玩笑吧？对呀，我是在开玩笑。其实我吃了25天。对啊，我是在开玩笑。其实我吃了25天。The next one is, I'm starving. What's for dinner? The way we say it in Mandarin is quite dramatic. 我饿死了，晚饭吃什么？我饿死了，晚饭吃什么？我要饿死了，晚饭吃什么？我要饿死了，晚饭吃什么？我快饿死了，晚饭吃什么？我快饿死了，晚饭吃什么？ These are perfect for when your hunger level is at DEFCON 1. 我还在加班呢，再等我20分钟。好吧，我快饿死了，晚饭吃什么？吃泡面吧。你逗我呢？我还在加班呢，再等我20分钟。我还在加班呢，再等我20分钟。好吧，我快饿死了，晚饭吃什么？好吧，我快饿死了，晚饭吃什么？吃泡面吧。吃泡面吧。你逗我呢？你逗我呢？ The next one is, I'm not sure, let me check. In Chinese, you've got a few ways to express this. 我不太确定，让我确认一下。我不太确定，让我确认一下。我不太确定，让我查一下。 我不太确定，让我查一下。我不太确定，让我核实一下。我不太确定，让我核实一下。The last one, 让我核实一下 means let me verify. This is your go-to for work situations. It has a professional vibe that'll make you sound sharp in office. So next time you're in a meeting and need a moment to double-check something, hit them with a smooth 我不太确定，让我核实一下. They will be impressed with your language skills and your professional attitude. 这家餐厅需要预约吗？我不太确定，让我确认一下。这家餐厅需要预约吗？这家餐厅需要预约吗？我不太确定，让我确认一下。我不太确定，让我确认一下。Move on to the next one. Oops, my bad. In Chinese, we don't really say oops. We say something like 哎呀, 哎呀. This is like a surprised oh no or oops. Or we can also say 啊. We often use the fourth tone, 啊, so it's a quick and sharp sound. If you need to apologize or say sorry, you could use 不好意思,不好意思. It's like saying excuse me or sorry about that. And for my bad, you have a few options. 是我的错,是我的错, or just say 我的错,我的错,我错了,我错了,怪我怪我. You can mix and match this to create the perfect oops, my bad for any situation. For example, 哎呀，我的错。哎呀，我的错。啊，不好意思，是我的错。啊，不好意思，是我的错。哎呀，怪我怪我。哎呀，怪我怪我。你怎么来的这么晚？咱们的飞机已经起飞了。不好意思，我错了，怪我怪我。你怎么来的这么晚？咱们的飞机已经起飞了。你怎么来的这么晚？咱们的飞机已经起飞了。不好意思，我错了，怪我怪我。不好意思，我错了，怪我怪我。The next one is, this is hilarious, you have to see it. When you come across something funny and want to share with your Mandarin-speaking friends, you have several options to express your excitement. Let's break it down into two parts. The first part, this is hilarious. You can say, 这个太搞笑了。这个太搞笑了。这个太逗了。这个太逗了。这个笑死我了。这个笑死我了。And the second part, you have to see it. You can say, 你必须看看。你必须看看。你快看看。你快看看。你一定得看看。你一定得看看。你赶紧看一眼。你赶紧看一眼。You can mix and match any phrase from part 1 with one from part 2 to create a complete sentence. For example, 这个太搞笑了，你快看看。这个太搞笑了，你快看看。这个太逗了，你赶紧看一眼。这个太逗了，你赶紧看一眼。你怎么笑得这么开心？这个太搞笑了，我转发给你了，你快看看。你怎么笑得这么开心？你怎么笑得这么开心？这个太搞笑了，我转发给你了，你快看看。这个太搞笑了，我转发给你了，你快看看。The next one is, let's catch up soon. When translating let's catch up soon into Chinese, the context matters. There are two main scenarios. If you just met and want to express let's keep in touch, you can say, 我们下次再聊 or 我们下次再约。我们下次再聊 or 再约。我们改天再聊，我们改天再约。我们改天再聊 or 再约。我们下次见。我们下次见。 已经很晚了，我得回家了。好吧，那我们改天再约哦。已经很晚了，我得回家了。已经很晚了，我得回家了。好吧，那我们改天再约哦。好吧，那我们改天再约哦。If it's been some time since you last met and you miss the connection and want to see them soon, you might say, 我们找个时间聚聚吧。我们找个时间聚聚吧。我们尽快见个面吧。我们尽快见个面吧。我们抽时间聊聊吧。我们抽时间聊聊吧。The last one, 我们抽时间聊聊吧 is versatile and can mean either meeting in person or chatting online. 好久没见了，我们找个时间聚聚吧。好啊，好啊，你哪天有空？好久没见了，我们找个时间聚聚吧。好久没见了，我们找个时间聚聚吧。好啊，你哪天有空？好啊，好啊，你哪天有空？ Finally, the last one. That was dope. We have so many ways to express it. First, we have the 太了 pattern. This structure is used to express that something is at an extreme level, positive or negative. In this case, we're using it positively. 太酷了，太酷了，太棒了，太棒了，太牛了，太牛了，太精彩了，太精彩了。The last one, 太精彩了, it's often used when someone is really impressed by a performance, a movie, a sports game, or any other event that they found exceptionally good. Alternatively, we can also say 超赞的，超赞的，绝了绝了，绝了绝了。你去看他的演唱会了吗？去了去了，太精彩了。对啊，超赞的。你去看他的演唱会了吗？你去看他的演唱会了吗？去了，去了，太精彩了。去了，去了，太精彩了。对呀，超赞的。对呀，超赞的。Now you have it. 20 everyday English sentences in authentic Chinese. Remember, there are always multiple ways to say the same thing in real life. So keep exploring and feel free to share some variations in the comments. See you in the next one.